Okay,
We're
so
back.
we're back.
New and improved Lloyd with no echo.
I don't think there's any echo now. What
New and
about
improved
you?
Lloyd. No echo.
Anybody else hear it?
He had to get out his book of spells and conjure the echo demon.
I did conjure the echo.
We Dimbella.
So we've got quite a few watchers now. How we do?
Anybody come back, or is it just us now? Everybody's like,
might
screw
be
those
that,
hippies.
yeah. Okay, DJ Big Red 03 says back and better than ever. No echo.
DJ Big Red 03, my favorite person.
See, and you guys didn't give up on us, and that's why we love you.
Never give up.
Cheers. Thank you.
Never surrender.
I'm gonna go ahead and have a drink of beer after this.
By Grabthar's hammer, I will avenge you, Lloyd.
You're the best, Charles.
I know.
Well, we really don't know what happened, but we're back, and
Yes.
nothing else matters, right?
Hopefully my audio is fine now. They're going to be like, now Charles is echoing. I'm going to be like, that's it. I'm out.
Everybody's saying both of us sound fine, so we're good.
We're doing it live, Lloyd.
The crazy thing was, I think it was driving me crazier than it was the listeners because it was echoing in my headphones, and I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Well,
so every time I would say something, there was a little bit of delay, and then I hear myself, and it was just screwing me up. I couldn't do it. So I'm glad to start over.
Well, let's start over again.
Let's
It was
start
echoing.
over.
No more echo. It's out. All right.
Exactly.
We
So
covered a
let's go
lot.
back to the list.
Between me and everybody watching, we already covered a lot, Lloyd. So you're like that person, like you're like Spicoli who shows up late for class. That's you right now.
Whoa. I'm late.
I see a globe right over there, dude. It's world history.
So you guys talked about a lot. You talked about Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes.
Did we talk about Anthropophagus?
No.
Oh my
We
God.
need to talk about Anthropophagus.
Joe D'Amato is one of my all-time favorite directors. I love everything about the guy. Every movie he makes is sleazy and super violent and ultra gory, and I love it. And I don't know how you pronounce it because I'm sure I've butchered it. I know it's also spelled with an H. Anthropophagus, the beast.
I know he did. Did he do Porno Holocaust too?
He did Porno Holocaust. Joe D'Amato operated under several pseudonyms, and he did several adult, in quotes, films, and but he also did some really great horror movies too. And he's one of my all-time favorite directors. I love D'Amato.
He probably had to use different names so people wouldn't find him with all his weird movies.
Yeah.
I know. I have seen Anthropophagus.
Anthropophagus is how I've always pronounced it. So,
all right. I like the way you pronounced it.
I have seen Porno Holocaust.
Todd, I would not expect anything less. You have not seen Cannibal Holocaust, but you've seen Porno Holocaust. You just started from the top. You didn't even work your way up. You're just like, I'm going straight to Porno Holocaust. There's no stopping me.
Usually, Cannibal Holocaust is sort of a gateway into Italian films.
It is. Everybody hears about it. Everybody hears about it. They want to see it.
Well, it was one of the first cannibal. I mean, I won't say it was one of the first Italian films that I've ever seen, because I'd seen Dario films, going way back. Mm-hmm. But when you start to deep dive into Italian cinema, I think Cannibal Holocaust is where you start. And a friend of mine turned me on to that, David Dawes, and he gave me some really crappy, 7th generation bootleg VHS of Cannibal Holocaust. And back then that was the only way you could see it. But that was kind of my big deep dive into Italian horror films was Cannibal Holocaust. And I hate to keep going here, but before we go on, Joe D'Amato did something else in 1980 called Erotic Nights of the Living Dead. And that's another one of his adult/horror hybrids that he did. And that had the great Laura Gemser in it.
Okay, wait, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So I think he did He did another movie in 1980, didn't he? Sex and Black Magic. Like he was all over the place in 1980.
Well, that's the thing about D'Amato is he was truly the definition of the word prolific. That was Joe D'Amato. He made so many movies, and I think he was kind of like the Italian version of Roger Corman in that they would go to a location, and while they were there shooting one movie, they would just start shooting a bunch of others, like the Erotic Nights of the Living Dead and Porno Holocaust, and I think there's more that came out of that region where they were shooting that.
He's like, you know what? While we are here, we can make 17 of these movies. 17. We will work every day, every night till 17 movies are done. The Porno Holocaust, Super Porno Holocaust, and Porno Holocaust in space.
The first movie would cost us $50,000. The other 17, $100.
$100. 100 lira.
Lira, see.
100 lira.
Ollie Kappa says, I have Erotic Nights of the Living Dead. And, well, congratulations, Ollie, because that is a crazy movie. It makes no sense.
I bet Ollie watches that at least 6 times a week. Probably.
He should. It's
every day. 9:30 every night, going to bed. Erotic Nights of the Living Dead is coming on.
I like this comment. How about some adult horror films reunions sometime?
Oh, Lord.
Guys, I have tried. I'm not going to lie to you.
I was going to say, Lloyd has tried.
I have tried several times with Laura Gemser, but she's very reclusive now. But I would love to have Laura Gemser as a guest at the show. I've even tried with Luigi Montefiore, who is otherwise known as George Eastman, and he was Anthropophagus. So,
yep.
It's not for lack of trying. I've tried several times, but Italians are different, man. They're like, maybe I come, maybe I don't. There's so many things I have to do tomorrow. I like to drink a wine and eat the bread and eat the cheese.
I mean, that's like most of the Italian people we have. It's like they're coming, but you're like, they don't ever want to give you an answer. They're like, maybe they'll get on the plane. Who the hell knows?
Exactly. Italians it's not that they're, not nice people. They're very nice, but it's just the culture is so different over there. They're just no, I have a fun sitting here in my home. No, thank you. Not today. Thank you.
Hey, Argento was still one of the funnest people I've met. So
he was fantastic.
He made me and my wife have dinner with him like when he arrived, and I was just sitting there like, what the hell do I do with Dario Argento?
We got to tell everybody that Dario was a little upset with you.
Oh, he was mad at me.
Because if you guys don't know, Charles books all of our airfare. He's our travel department of Texas Frightmare Weekend, and he booked his flight, but apparently there was some miscommunication about the kind of meal that Dario wanted.
Yeah,
and
they told me one meal, but I guess he wanted a different meal. The meal they told me was not his diet; it was a different type of diet he had. So.
Yeah. So the first thing that Dario wanted to do was speak to Charles as soon as he got off the plane. And I was privy to that conversation. I kind of stood off to the side a little bit, and Dario just kind of ripped your ass. Let's just say,
he did.
He ripped your ass a little bit,
and it was fantastic too. I was excited the whole time he was doing it. I was like, "Do it, yell at me, please."
Exactly. But then he quickly came around. And then, like you said, you and your wife and I all kind of had dinner with him. And he was amazing. He was just so awesome. But it was a lot of fun. And Stephanie can speak a little Spanish, which kind of came in handy because it's real similar to Italian in a lot of respects.
He was a little difficult to understand. But, I mean, I'm gonna say the time from when he was upset with me to the time he told me we had to have dinner was like 94 seconds.
Yeah, he didn't wear you out for very long. It was just like he wanted to make his point, and then we took him to the restaurant, we fed him, and everything was okay.
And what's cool about that is, as we were having dinner with Argento, somehow, slowly, the entire cast of Suspiria just kept joining us for dinner until like it was the entire cast, and then I was just sitting there like, well, I don't know what to do.
And who was it that lost their purse and brought that up during the dinner?
Stefana, wasn't it?
Yeah, Stefania, is that her name?
Stefania, yeah. She kept talking about losing her purse.
Yeah, she found it, but MS or M Sinistrari says us Italians take food seriously. You ain't never lying, man.
Oh yeah, you're not lying. So I mean, not to wear it down, but yeah, they told me he had one diet, which I set up, but I guess his diet wasn't that diet. It was supposed to be a different diet. So I don't know.
It worked out. Richard says, way to piss off Argento. No wonder we haven't seen him since. No, look, that's not true at all. Dario left super happy.
Yeah, very happy.
He loved the convention. He loved being there, and he loved meeting everybody. I'd never seen a guest embrace his fans as much as Argento did. He would walk around the show, and people would say, Dario, and yell at him. And he would go, oh, yes. And he had
yes, Dario, yes. You may kiss me, yes. I know. He was fantastic. Like, he would just, like, want to walk around. And we'd be like, you can't just walk around, Dario. He was, I just want to walk around to see the people. I'm like, yeah, well, you can't really because it's really crowded. No, I just walk. Yeah. All right, go.
He really wanted to just mingle with the fans and talk to the fans, which is amazing. There's your wife, Charles.
She said we just kept pushing tables together. Yeah, it's just somehow we kept turning around and somebody else from Suspiria would just join the table. We'd be like, all right, everybody, let's just have a Suspiria dinner. Why not?
Suspiria dinner for sure. And he wanted gluten-free bread at that dinner, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah, and everything he wanted that the hotel got for him. They didn't question anything. They were like, write it down, I will find it. All right.
They took care of him.
We gotta love the hotel.
So it was very much a great interaction, a lot of great interaction with him.
Yeah.
And we're talking about films from 1980, so I think it fits in really well.
It did. He had Inferno came out in 1980, which Inferno is one. I mean, I know people have seen it, but it doesn't seem like to be one people talk about a lot. It really is it's a fun movie, It kind of follows. It was the second part of his Three Mothers trilogy, and
that's what I was going to ask you.
I thought
that it was.
Of course, that ended with Mother of Tears, which was like 2007, something like that. But
yeah.
I always run into people who've seen Suspiria. Suspiria is really widely viewed, but a lot of people haven't seen Inferno. I always say if you like Suspiria, watch Inferno because it really kind of fit well together.
They're cut, yeah. I mean, it's part of the Three Mothers trilogy, like you said. So they definitely go together, and it's a great film. I'm with you. It's underappreciated.
Yeah.
Right.
Very much so. I mean, it's beautiful cinematography in it. The music in it's great. And everything in it's just, top notch.
I'm going to tie in and segue a little bit since before we leave Suspiria.
Huh?
I'm going to share my screen here.
What you got?
Does anybody remember I think it was a Chinese film, We Are Going to Eat You from 1980?
Yes.
You know that one?
Yes, we are going to eat you.
We are going to eat you. So I'm going to share my screen, and I want you to listen and see if you can recognize the music at the beginning of this trailer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Am I showing up there?
As long as you're not echoing, I don't care what you do, Lloyd.
Okay. So I'm going to play this. And,
Lloyd's going to play the entire 1 hour and 29-minute movie, everybody. So
yeah, we're just going to watch
Get Comfortable.
Eat You.
And
it's 1980, so it's very topical. So
I have to do the subtitles too, everybody, so get ready.
No, I thought you can. It'll be funny, but
I have to translate.
I think I figured out the sound issue, so we're going to have sound with this one. So here we go. Not this music.
Seasonal Film Corporation.
You can hear it, right, Charles?
Oh, I can hear it, Lloyd. I can hear it well.
Okay, before we go on, does anybody recognize that music?
Hope so.
Did you recognize it, Charles?
Yeah.
I don't see anybody commenting on if they recognize
I
that.
see a lot more comments on some Argento movies.
Yeah, they're talking about Argento. So, do you want me to keep playing this trailer?
How come you're always pissing? He said he can't help pissing. That's a doctor's problem, dude. You got to go to the doctor. Why is he looking at his naked? He's watching him piss.
Is this a trailer?
No, it's the whole movie, Lloyd.
Oh, okay.
It's the whole movie. I told you it's the whole movie.
We're gonna pull that. So anyway,
I see people mentioning Phenomena. I love Phenomena too.
Well, before we go on, the music at the beginning is from Suspiria.
Yeah, it's like a little cutoff.
Yeah, so I thought that tied in pretty well.
That's awesome.
Like that old kung fu movie. Yeah, well, everything from China had some kung fu in it, but this this was kind of a horror cross, which they were very well known for. 1980, We're Going to Eat You. Go look that one up.
Going to eat you.
We're going to eat you.
That'll be our next
from Fulci's Zombie.
That'll be our next live stream. We'll show that without the subtitles, and we'll just act out the whole movie.
Yeah, we'll just riff track on that.
Lloyd, why are you pissing so much?
I don't know. My doctor said I have something wrong. I need antibiotic.
Let me look at it. Oh, that's not normal.
Okay, let's move on.
So yeah, I see.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about you, Lloyd.
No, you don't.
What else came out in 1980? Lamberto Bava's Macabre came out in 1980. You ever seen that one?
That's a great flick.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That's a good one. 1980, really, I mean, there was a lot of good stuff from U.S. and Italy, both. I mean...
So seriously, though, why do you think 1980 was such a stellar year for horror films? I mean, is there a reason why we had such an onslaught of great horror films?
I felt like that year sort of was a culmination of a lot of... sort of a mixture of what was in the 70s evolving into what was in the 80s. And a lot of good stuff came out. That was some of my favorites in 1980. I mean, we had The Shining, of course, which is awesome. What else came out? Cannibal Holocaust.
The Shining, right?
Yeah, we're talking about The Shining. I mean, if you don't like The Shining, just stop watching. Just go away. It's over. Get out of here.
The cocaine was better in 1980. I couldn't tell you. I was 10 years old, so I couldn't tell you anything about cocaine in 1980.
But I mean, look at 1980. I mean, look like what we had. I mean, like everybody's saying, we've got, you had, like I said, Shining, you had Terror Train, Prom Night, Motel Hell came out, Maniac came out. We already mentioned Eaten Alive, that came out. Friday the 13th, of course. Carpenter's The Fog came out in 1980. Just lots of really good stuff. Alligator, which is a fun movie.
Love Alligator.
There was just so much that one year that some of my favorites. I think it's just so many movies from that year are the ones that got me like hooked on horror a lot. So
Well, it seemed like everybody was embracing horror films in 1980, and one of my articles of proof for that is Disney's Watcher in the Woods.
God.
Do you remember that?
Watcher in the Woods.
Betty Davis.
Betty Davis, right?
Directed by John. Is it Huff? Is that how you pronounce it, or John? Hough? I don't know.
Oh, the guy who did Twins of Evil, Watcher in the
Legend
American
of
Gothic.
House.
He did American Gothic, right?
American Gothic. The
a lot of British.
Mm-hmm. But I think The Watcher in the Woods is just proof that a lot of people were trying to embrace horror. It was making money. And I think that's probably the big reason why 1980 was as big as it was.
I think that as well. I think 1980s there was a lot of quality, like very high quality horror films released. I mean, as you got into the 80s, there was a lot more quantity, but there was a lot of kind of recycled slasher blueprint movies that were brought out. I feel like a lot of these movies sort of led to what we would see for like the next decade. It kind of led to a lot of that.
So, what year did Halloween come out? 79?
Lloyd, you know what year Halloween came out?
I can't remember. It was 78 or
78, Lloyd. Come on, Lloyd. 78, Lloyd.
All right. So, do you think Halloween coming out in 1978 brought about this glut of horror films, of great horror films in 1980? Because I know we had it. 80 was a big year for slasher flicks too. You can't forget Maniac. With
Maniac was great.
Joseph Bunnell, directed by William Lustig. Maniac is probably one of my all-time favorite slasher flicks, and it's not even a traditional slasher flick.
Yeah, I mean, the golden age of slasher movies really was jump-started by Halloween. Because really, 78's like that 78 to like 85 range is really the good year of slasher. I think Halloween jump-started a lot of what was to come. Was it like the very first movie like itself? No, but it was the most successful one to date, and that really jump-started a lot to come.
And it really established the slasher formula.
Mm-hmm. It really did. There was ones before that, but they were never successful. And I think the fact that Halloween came out and made so much money and made everybody want to see it had everybody turn their eyes to horror films, because they realized, and even to this day, horror films still do it, that you can make a movie for a lot less money and make a lot more money off of it. It's just how it is.
Right. It definitely kicked things off. Everybody says that Friday the 13th came about because of Halloween. Josette says Friday the 13th brought the heat, though, and that's true. I mean, Halloween's great. I love Halloween. It's a great film, and a lot of people love it. But I think for me, Friday the 13th was my thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Halloween is an amazing. It's a fantastic film. I think it's aesthetically really, really well made. Fantastic score, but the way the 80s came from Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, developed that tonality of a lot of the other movies had, and it was birthed from Halloween. Halloween gave birth to Friday the 13th. It's part of the culmination of it, because I can guarantee you that if Halloween was not successful, we probably wouldn't have had Friday the 13th. And a lot of that came from there. Prom night. Prom night, yes.
I love Prom Night. Prom Night's a great slasher flick. There's probably there's a ton of slasher flicks, but I think there's probably maybe 20 that are what you expect when you want to see a slasher flick. There's maybe 20 of them. There's a ton of copies, and I can think of a handful right off the top of my head, but none of them really captured that slasher formula, except for maybe a handful of them. Josette says Jaws and Shining ramped it up too. I think you're right. I think Jaws influenced the 1980 horror film glut as well.
Yeah, and Jaws came out 2 years before Halloween, and if the way the pacing of Jaws is a little similar to Halloween, if you watch it, it's that sort of fearing the unknown kind of thing. Jaws was kind of the first, I wouldn't say the first, but it was one of the better examples of thriller, like turning a thriller into sort of a horror with like people fearing what they don't see until the end. It's a lot of fun.
And it was really kind of that first summer blockbuster that I remember. I don't know, when did Star Wars came out before that, though.
Star Wars came out after Jaws.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we're not a Star Wars podcast though, but Star Wars came out in '77. So yeah.
Well, another one that I love, which is really a slasher flick disguised as a Bigfoot film, is Night of the Demon.
Oh god, I was gonna say you're gonna say Night of the Demon. You said Bigfoot. I was like a Bigfoot film. I was like, oh no.
It's a fantastic Bigfoot film, but it also feels like a slasher film in a lot of ways because you have that, that view from the slasher view, like the Michael Myers view. There's a lot of elements of Night of the Demon that totally fit a slasher flick.
Yeah. Don't confuse it with Night of the Demons. We're talking about Night of the Demon.
Night of the Demon.
Take the S away. That movie was super, super censored by the British Film Board when it came out. So it really didn't do justice till later because there was a lot of censorship made to that movie. A lot of censorship.
Yeah, it was very censored, but we've since had. I think we've got the most censored versions have come. I mean, uncensored versions have come out recently, so we're lucky for that.
We've been seeing a lot more of that last decade or so, which is good because, a lot of that would be censored.
Man.
What else we got? Meredith's here. Meredith.
Is Meredith watching?
Meredith's here. Well, now that Meredith's here, we can.
Amityville Horror. When did Amityville Horror? That was in the 70s. That was like 78, wasn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't 80.
But it probably influenced
79, I think.
79, yeah.
Maybe.
I would say it was probably an influence for everybody, all the studios and producers rushing to make horror films because that was a wildly successful movie.
Which one, Amityville?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out a year after Halloween. It was really, I think that sort of tacked on to the horror success because Halloween was successful, Amityville Horror was successful, so people at that point were like, we could shoot these movies for not a lot. People are just going out in droves to see them.
Right. I've got another one from 1980. Slasher film.
It's gonna be one of your dirty movies, isn't it? It's gonna be like Night of the Dirty Naked Boys or something. Oh, jeez, Lloyd.
No. It's To All a Good Night, directed by David Hess.
Oh, David Hess.
Krug. Wasn't he Krug? Is that was his name in Last House on the Left? Charles.
Sorry, you cut out. David Hess?
David Hess.
Krug. David Hess, yeah. From
was he Krug in Last House on the Left? Was that?
Yeah, Krug Stillo.
Okay.
Last House on the Left, yeah.
But To All a Good Night, I think it's a great little slasher flick. It's one of those Z grade made for hardly anything slasher flick. But the cool thing about it was an early Santa Claus slasher flick too.
You gotta love those Santa Claus movies, made for kids, just in time for holidays.
Exactly.
Mommy, Santa's coming.
I love To All a Good Night. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but that's what I like. I like mining deep in the horror films, because we've all seen Halloween and Friday the 13th and all of the the big ones so many times. I want to see the stuff that nobody really talks about. And I think To All a Good Night is a great one. If anybody has a chance to watch that, check it out.
Yeah. I know another one I liked in 80 was The Hearse. I liked that. That came out in 80.
Do you know I have never seen that movie.
The Hearse?
I didn't see that.
I liked it a lot. And I don't know, it was another one that for some reason, when I was young, I had like a really crappy VHS copy of it, and I would just watch it, The Hearse. But that was a lot of movies from the 80s. We would record them off TV.
Yeah.
What else? What else we got?
Dude, the list is so long. Everybody remembers the Australian film Patrick, the guy that goes into a coma and he kind of does his ESP from his hospital bed. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, and then there was a sequel to it. Did the sequel come out in 80?
The sequel came out in 80, but it's not an
that.
official sequel. It's another one of those Italian ripoffs, where they go, well, we can just call it Patrick Still Lives, and we don't have to pay for the rights or anything, and everybody else.
So it was just about a boy who somehow was named Patrick as well. I've never seen the sequel. I knew there was a sequel to it.
It's basically the same thing. It's just a guy that's in a coma, but it's much more intense. I mean, the Italians would take what was popular, and then they would push the envelope, and they would make it dirtier and sleazier and gorier and more violent, and that's pretty much what Patrick Still Lives is. Same guy. I'm trying to think of who. I want to say Bruno Mattei was somehow involved in that one.
Really?
I don't know. No, it's Mario Landi is what it says here. I'm looking at it here. Mario Landi.
Directed by Mario Landi. What else did he direct? Probably some Italian movie we saw. Who knows?
Quite a few Italian movies. but there's one called Yellow in Venice. Oh, this is Giallo a Venezia. This one is it's a Giallo that's like they put triple X scenes in, and I've seen this one too. It's just a crazy, sleazy movie, and that's what a lot of these guys were known for making.
Michael Lee Burden, he's got a good comment. Does anyone remember Nightmares? Yes, I do remember Nightmares.
Are we talking about the Italian one that was shot in Florida, or are we talking about because there's an Australian film called Nightmares too?
This is the Australian film.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. The other one was like a. The other one was like had different segments in it, didn't it?
Well, no. There's one called Nightmare, and then it's also known as Nightmare in a Damaged Brain.
Okay.
But I don't think that came out in '80. But I haven't seen Nightmares.
Nightmares.
What is that about?
It's an '80s. Nightmares is the Australian slasher film, so it's about a little girl and her. I know she tries to keep her mom from like making out with some guy, and they get in a crash or something, and then it flies ahead to the future, and then she's like an actress, but everybody starts dying. It's like one of those same plots, but it's Australian horror, which. There's not a whole lot of Italian slasher. I mean, Australian slasher films out there. So,
the only thing about Australian films that make it difficult for me to watch is I can barely understand them when they're talking.
I can't understand them with their accent.
I'm sure they couldn't understand me either. If
Nightmares, Australian for slasher. That's pretty much what it means.
There's a lot of people talking about Nightmares, but this is different.
This is different.
Yeah, there's a Nightmares that was shot in Australia, and then there's the one that Morgan's talking about here, Nightmares.
That's a different one.
Yeah, and Todd says there's a Nightmares film that was a Creepshow ripoff type film.
That's
Emilio Estevez, or
that's the one with Lance Henderson too, and Emilio Estevez. That one came out in I want to say 83 or 84. That was the anthology movie.
Yeah.
It also has Veronica Cartwright in it, too. It's got a really good cast. Mm-hmm. That's not the same as this one, the Australian movie, but I guess just since we're talking about that one, that's a really good movie, too, if you haven't seen it. I was lucky enough to watch it in 35mm a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's a fun movie. It's one of those movies, though, like, where I can't tell if the movie is good or if the cast is good.
Yeah.
That's a problem with some of these movies.
It starts out with the girl. She's dying for a cigarette, right? And she wants to go out and buy cigarettes, and it's kind of an urban legend type story.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different stories in it. There's the one with Emilio Estevez where he's like the video game wizard, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, and the first one was a lady who had cigarettes. I think it was called. I can't remember what it was called, but. Yeah, she goes to a gas station or something, and William Sanderson was in it. if William Sanderson was in Blade Runner. He was in that movie. That's a different movie, though.
Yeah, it's a different movie. So let's go back to 1980 again.
Yeah, let's go back to 80. Wait, time machine. Time machine. 80.
How about Ken Russell, William Hurt in Altered States?
Oh, Altered States. What a great movie.
That was a great movie.
Drew Barrymore was in that, too.
She was. I remember that.
It was based on a novel. It was a novel first, wasn't it?
Was a novel.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of hard to describe a little bit, but Altered States is not just a clever name for it.
It's very good. It's a really good film, and I highly suggest that to anybody. It's great, if you want to go back and visit something from 1980. Rachel Nettleton. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, Altered States is one of those that's it's not terribly violent, so to speak, not like the slasher. So it's something you could enjoy, and it's actually really, really well written. The screenplay in it's fantastic. So I mean, if it's something it's a little different, you could probably watch with older family members. It's not really, a lot of blood and gore, which we all love blood and gore. So
yeah.
All right, what you got?
It is one of those movies that you kind of wonder what's going to happen next. What's going on? What's happening here? Somebody brought up Humanoids from the Deep, which is a picture that I used. This is a Roger Corman flick, and I love Humanoids from the Deep. The first time I saw that was on beta tape back in I don't know when, a long time ago.
Yeah, and that was Humanoids from the Deep was a female-directed film too. Barbara Peters directed that.
Yes.
Which, that was definitely a very male-heavy time period. So it's nice to see some of these movies from female directors that were brought out during that time period. And I know Barbara Peters went on to direct a bunch of episodes of Remington Steele, so there's that. Yeah.
We were talking about Vic Morrow with Savini the other night, weren't we?
We were talking about Vic Morrow with Savini, yeah.
He was in it. That movie, what I remember most about it is that crazy rape scene on the beach by the humanoid from the deep.
Yeah, and if I recall directly, didn't the producer, whoever gave him the money, wanted like an X-rated movie or something for that, like a porn movie, almost?
Oh, have you heard that?
I don't know. I've heard that, but I can't recall where I've heard it. It's a lot of stuff we've heard over the years, but I've heard that they wanted to be a lot more graphic than it was. But it was still pretty graphic.
Everybody's talking about Motel Hell now in the comments.
Motel Hell did come out in 80.
It did.
Motel Hell, directed by Kevin Connor. It's a comedy film, really. I mean, it's a comedy horror. You gotta love comedy.
It takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters.
You might just die laughing.
What's crazy is Rory Calhoun was the lead in that, and I want to say he was like a famous cowboy earlier in his career, wasn't he?
Rory Calhoun, yeah, 50s and 60s. He was one of the buckaroos. He did all kinds of those movies, 50s and 60s.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the things that my mom and I connected. I think she understood the whole thing when she saw Rory Calhoun in the lead role. And she was able to go, oh, I know who that guy is. And then, it kind of made it not so terrible in her eyes, Yeah,
I think a lot of those movies in the 80s connected with an older generation because it did have a lot of people who were from the 50s and 60s who were now older, who seemed to be in a lot of these horror movies that came out. So a lot of people could connect with it.
Yeah.
Motel Hell, though, wasn't Wolfman Jack in Motel Hell? Am I mistaken with that?
I don't know. It seems like was he in it, or did they choose his voice?
I mean, did they use his voice? I don't know. I haven't watched Motel Hell in probably like 15 years. I need to watch it, but I just hear Wolfman Jack for some reason in my head during that movie.
One of those movies you can go back and watch again, though, because it's just a fun film. So
everybody, my movie to watch is Motel Hell. I'm going to go back and watch that. Because I think that's the one I probably haven't seen in the longest time.
Jace Whitman says Wolfman Jack is in Motel Hell. Okay, so thank you for that because I couldn't remember.
Wolfman Jack in Motel Hell. I'm Wolfman Jack. Hallelujah, Wolfman Jack.
That's probably another reason my mom would have, been okay with me watching that movie if Wolfman Jack was in it, because that was certainly of her generation.
Wolfman Jack. So Shannon said he was the preacher. Maybe that's why I have Wolfman Jack in my head and like.
Yeah, he was a preacher.
Wolfman Jack.
I'm with you though. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Is there a good release of Motel Hell out? Is there a Blu-ray or?
I want to say Scream Factory put that out.
Did Scream Factory bring it out? All right, I'm finding it. It's happening.
Yeah, I think I have a copy of it here, but I'd have to look. It's definitely something that I need to revisit very soon.
What else are we talking about on our comments? Somebody said It's Alive. It's not 1880, I don't think.
I don't think that was 1980 either, but I want to say it might have been 1981. We'll look. Schizoid's a good one. How about Schizoid with Klaus Kinski?
I've never seen Schizoid.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
It's an American-made slasher film.
Okay.
And, it's a good. I think it's a good flick. I mean, I just like watching Klaus Kinski, walk around and shoot up scenery. But that's just me.
I know Klaus Kinski from other stuff he did. Fitzcarraldo he did, which is not a horror movie, but he was in a lot of spaghetti westerns though back in the day for a few dollars more. Yeah, and God said to Cain, "Shoot the living and pray for the dead." He was in all those movies.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, 78, 79?
Okay, so Todd Lewis says you should ask Lloyd to pronounce your name again to see if he gets it right. I don't think, this isn't fair. Are we talking about Pittides, which I just mispronounced?
There he is. Pittides is on.
There he is. He's there.
Oh.
I know.
Don't worry, Tim. I'm not going to let Lloyd pronounce it right. So
it's Petitus, but I'm not sure if you know how to pronounce my name. Do you know how to pronounce my last name, Charles? Not a lot of people do.
It's not Lloyd Cry.
No, it's Cry.
Look, I told you to stop. All right, we have to have a talk about crack. All right, so remember last time I was at your house and I showed you the egg and I said, "This is your brain on drugs," and you said you didn't have any questions.
I have no questions.
But obviously you do because you're still on that crack, that whack crack. You're on that wax mat crack. All right, I'm done.
Let's go back to the 1980s.
Is that when you did? Is that when you first did crack? 1980, while watching Schizoid.
I don't even know if they had crack in the 80s. I mean, in 1980 at least.
Did you invent crack? What else came out? Terror Train came out in 1980. Did we talk about Terror Train yet?
No, we didn't.
Terror Train.
Jamie Lee Curtis movie.
Yeah, directed by Roger Spottiswoode. I can't say his last name. Something like that. Roger Spottiswoode.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Directed by Roger Spottiswoode.
Well, now you're copying me. So go ahead and talk about Terror Train. I'm going to look that one up, and I'll tell you how to pronounce it. Oh,
Robert Spottiswoode. So
Terror Train. Directed by Roger Spottiswoode.
Spottiswoode.
Just Spottiswoode.
Who
pronounce words?
So Roger went on to do such great movies as Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
That's a classic.
Turner and Hooch. That's a great movie. That's a great movie.
That reminds me of a 1980 horror film. Turner and Hooch. The star of Turner and Hooch was who?
Tom Hanks. Wilson, I'm sorry, Wilson.
His feature film. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it, but it was a slasher flick. It was like
He Knows You're Alone.
He Knows You're Alone. That's it.
With Elizabeth Kemp was in that too.
Yes, she was. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I finally pulled it up.
Yeah,
I
watched that not too long ago.
Tom Hanks's It says He Knows You're Alone has been credited of being one of the first horror films inspired by the success of Halloween. 1980, He Knows You're Alone, with Tom Hanks. That was his feature film debut. Somebody says Magic with Anthony Hopkins. Was that 1980? I thought that was like 79.
That was 78 or 79. It had a 7 in it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's segue back for a second to Terror Train, because the best thing about Terror Train is the fact that David Copperfield was in it.
That's exactly right.
I think every movie should have had David Copperfield in it, just for no reason, just David Copperfield.
I remember him being a creepy dude in that movie, because at one point you suspected him of being the killer, didn't you?
He played the magician. I mean, it's not like he had to act very hard.
Being the magician is creepy anyway, right?
Magicians are creepy. There's something just weird about a magician. Like at any point, they're just gonna fondle your jewels. Like, ho ho, look what I found.
I got this comment. What is that? Is that Obama?
What?
I don't know who that is. That picture on that comment.
Floyd Cryer. Yeah. So.
Josette says David Copperfield.
Oh yeah. So also Roger Spottiswoode. Roger Spottiswoode.
Spottiswoode.
He directed a Bond film, Tomorrow Never Dies. I watched that recently too. Horrible movie, but he
played Bond in that one.
Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I feel like I should be James Bond. I think they're missing out.
Of course they are.
I'd be the greatest James Bond ever.
Go ahead and say it.
I would know. I guess I could play James Bond's like older, like underdeveloped brother. I'm like Carlos Bond. That's me.
Carlos Bond.
Where I'm just trying to live up to my brother's success.
Negative 001.
I'm like Dewey in a Scary Movie. That's me. I'm an agent.
Another slasher flick that we need to talk about.
What do we got?
New Year's Evil, 1980.
Oh, New Year's Evil did come out then, didn't it?
Yeah.
Roz Kelly was in that, right?
Who?
Roz Kelly.
Roz Kelly. Yeah, Roz Kelly is in that. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I know Roz because she was on Happy Days, if I'm not mistaken.
I got one here. Todd Lewis. Has anyone mentioned Contamination, aka Alien Contamination, directed by Luigi Cozzi? Music from Goblin. We have not brought that up yet, and that is a 1980 horror film.
That is a 1980 horror film,
yep.
And
an alien ripoff.
It is an alien ripoff. Cozzi did that after Star Crash. If you remember Star Crash, he brought out
the Star Wars ripoff. Yeah,
yeah. So if I recall, I think he saw like Alien or something, didn't he? He wanted to make a movie like Alien. He was like, I'm going to make one.
Everybody was making Alien ripoffs after Alien. I mean, you had Galaxy of Terror with Sid Haig and Joni from Happy Days. What was her name? I can't remember her name now.
Yeah. But I think Contamination, Arrow Video brought that out like 4 or 5 years ago, didn't they?
Yes.
Because I remember there was they brought out like the Blu-ray, and I think it was a really good version of it.
It was fantastic.
Not that we love Arrow Video or anything here, but you know.
Well, we're a little partial to them, but somebody says Lloyd Cry rah 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 rah.
I'm Lloyd Cry rah rah rah.
I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult to pronounce my name, but you know, if you want to know, that's how you do it, right there. Krelvin has it.
Aaron Moran. Aaron
Moran. That's right.
Yep, Aaron Moran.
We got to talk about City of the Living Dead.
I was waiting for City of the Living Dead. I love City of the Living Dead.
Fulci's best.
It is one of Fulci's best.
Absolutely, and it's part of a zombie trilogy, basically, which was Zombies, City of the Living Dead, and La Delia.
Yeah.
The Beyond, which I love. The Beyond. The Beyond is right up there for me.
The Beyond, yeah. Beyond's great. I mean, I'm always a really, really big Fulci fan. That's some of the stuff that I got hooked on early too. And I'm sad to say that I haven't watched a lot of Fulci stuff in a long time because I watched a lot maybe like 15 years ago, and it's probably been a long time since I've rewatched any of those. I really need to go back and watch them.
It's worth it. It's worth it. I remember when who was the guy that was running for president against Obama?
It was probably Fulci.
No, but it was kind of it made me think of the Beyond because there's a character, Joe the Plumber.
Joe the Plumber, yeah.
You remember Joe the Plumber in Ladelia?
Yeah.
So remember whoever? Well, I can't remember the name of the candidate that brought that they brought up Joe the Plumber, and he had this whole plumber, and I was like, somebody needs to make a meme with Joe the Plumber from Lucio Fulci.
I was trying to see who I don't know, Joe the Plumber. I was trying to see who the candidate was.
Ah, man.
Who knows? Yeah. When year did The Beyond come out? 81? Was that one of your 81 movies?
I think so. I want to say The Beyond was 81. I'm going to look it up.
DJ Big Red said City of the Living Dead was the first Italian horror movie saw as a kid. That was a good one to watch then. Nice.
Yeah. That's a great way to be introduced to it.
Yeah. Josette said Fulci versus Argento fight. Oh, no, that's hard.
Okay, Travis got the answer for us. It was John McCain that had Joe the Plumber.
Maybe John McCain was Joe the Plumber in The Beyond. Maybe that was one of John McCain's early roles.
It very well could have been. Yeah.
81.
Big Red says 81, and he's right. The Beyond came out in 81. That's why I think 1981 was to me, that's my year for horror films.
Well, that's going to be the next discussion. 81.
Definitely.
With no echo.
With no echo. We got that fixed now. I don't know if we covered all. There's so many. There's no way we could cover everything in a live stream. There's just so many movies in 1980.
We could sit here for like 4 hours. I wonder how long we could sit here till everybody just like left.
Everybody just falls asleep on us. I just brought up another one though from 1980, The Children, which used the Friday the 13th music before Friday the 13th used it. Have you seen that one? That's a trauma flick.
I don't remember the movie, but I can see the poster in my head. Like it was like had like little kids like faces on it, didn't it? Like
yep, that's it.
I can see the poster in my head because I think at one point I had like a one sheet for it a long time ago. But I can't remember. I probably watched the movie because I don't want to say I haven't seen the movie, but I probably watched the movie like 20 years ago.
It's pretty good. What stands out to me was that they used Mancini. Isn't it Mancini who did the Friday the 13th soundtrack? It was actually they used that soundtrack before Friday the 13th used it. So
was that like? Is it just that they got released earlier?
I guess I don't know.
That's interesting. I wonder how that came to be.
I don't know what the behind the scenes story is at. Richard Nettleton says the hearse. We did touch on the hearse a little bit.
We did touch on the hearse. Yeah, we touched about it just a little bit. It was one that I watched a lot when I was younger. The hearse.
Josette, she says, I said this earlier, but the special effects artists were amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beanie, Winston, Baker, Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Practical effects blew up that, in the 80s overall.
And it still stands up so well. Even to a lot of the CGI stuff you see nowadays, it just looks so much better to me.
A lot better.
I miss a lot of practical effects. When I see stuff that uses practical effects again, I just get so happy.
Yeah.
Hell of the Living Dead came out in 80, I think.
I think it did come out in 80. Now, we should talk about Hell of the Living Dead because they just recently used that as the basis for Charlie Band's Full Moon film, Corona Zombies.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet, Charles?
No, I've been waiting to watch it. I know I know it had an alternate title of Virus. I think it did. Hell of the Living
Hell
Dead.
did, yeah. But Charlie used that for the new movie Corona Zombies, and I gotta say, I'm a little bit ashamed to say it, but I really enjoyed Corona Zombies.
We need to.
It was funny as hell.
Everybody needs to watch it.
Yeah, they basically play Hell the Living Dead. They shot some scenes around it, current scenes, and they just kind of riff. You know, they talk over what they're saying, and they have their own their new dialogue, and I don't know, it's pretty funny in a 1980s kind of a way.
I need to watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Hell of the Living Dead. Like what I always thought was funny about that is the entire score of Hell of the Living Dead was just ripped off from other Goblin movies. The whole score.
Yep. Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. Yeah.
It's right there. How'd they get away with that?
Well, Goblin did the score. They just took all the stuff they already used.
So you can go, you can use it too.
They're like, you know what you need? Stuff we already made. Like, all right. I think the only thing, even like the main title theme was taken from Blood and Diamonds. Have you ever seen that? Was an Italian film.
No, I haven't.
Everything from that movie was just taken from something else. Every piece of like music was just taken from something.
I believe it. Well, that's Bruno Mattei. So
yeah,
he made a lot of stinkers, man. But they were fun, in a lot of ways. I thought they were.
Bruno Mattei he touched in so many different genres because he did like nunsploitation, Nazi exploitation, Mondo films, cannibal movies. He just followed whatever genre trend was popping at the time.
Yeah,
it's just like everything. He was like, "Yep."
And he did a violence in a women's prison, which was also an Emmanuel ripoff with Laura Gebser. So you're right. He touched on everything.
He touched on everything. Whatever was popular at the time, he was like, "Yep, I'm gonna make one of those."
One of our vendors, Severin, just released some of his movies recently. They did Shocking Dark, which was Terminator 2, which basically just used the original Terminator poster.
Yeah. He did 2 women's prison movies the same year because it was Caged Women and then Prison Massacre, right? Wasn't there 2 different ones?
Yeah, because that's a whole genre. Women in prison films is a whole subgenre too. So
we have to have a women in prison episode.
I haven't seen a lot of women in prison movies. I know I've seen the Linda Blair one, which was like what was that called?
You've got a lot of research to do on women in prison.
Yeah, I have a lot. DJ Big Red said it was a Frightmare exclusive. Yes, it was.
Sweet. Linda Blair's, I think, was it was Red Heat, right? Is that what you said? Was it Red Heat?
I think you're right. It was I thought it was Prison Heat, but I think you're right. It's Red Heat.
I know Sylvia Crystal was in there with her. I can't remember what year it came out, but I know sometime in the 80s it came out.
Yeah. So what else are we going to talk about? We've been on for quite a while. We had a little audio snafu at the beginning, and
I don't know how long have we been on now.
How long we've been on at this point?
I don't know, 59 minutes. I don't even care. People are still here.
Well, you know what? We do have some things that we need to announce, right?
Are you having my baby?
You weren't supposed to say that publicly.
Having my baby.
So
what a wonderful way to say you love me.
Wait, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and announce right now that we do have another guest coming up Saturday. So this Saturday, which is, let me look at the date. Saturday, May 9th.
Saturday, May 9th.
We're doing 2 things that day, Charles. First.
Those things, Lloyd.
Those things. Saturday, May 9th. We have Patricia
9th.
Patricia Tallman from Night of the Living Dead, Babylon 5.
She's going to join us.
Star Trek Deep Space Nine. She is going to join us live this Saturday at 2 p.m. Central. So we're super looking forward to talking to her. Do you guys enjoy it? Do you guys enjoy us coming on and having guests and all of that, or should we just not do that anymore?
People want us to stop?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask.
Oh man! All right, we'll stop coming on and talking. Sigh. Womp womp.
DJ Big Red says she's coming to get you.
She's coming to get you.
Oh
Tallman was also an Army Dark. Yeah, she was.
She was
an Army Dark. Yeah, so she'll be with us.
She was also Laura Dern's stunt double in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, which I think is awesome.
I think it's super awesome.
And I've spoken to her a little bit already. She's super nice. She really is.
Yeah, she is really nice.
Yeah, so I mean, she'll be coming on, and don't forget, I mean, she was in Knight Riders too. So,
yeah,
which is one of Lloyd's favorite movies.
It is one of my favorite movies. I do love Knight Riders.
You guys have that picture of Tom Savini still? That's how Lloyd's going to be dressed the next episode.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
I don't want to see. I want to see that, Lloyd. I want to see you sparkle.
So we do have some people here. Apparently, they want to see us keep doing this. We enjoy doing it, and
we like jibber jabbering.
We do like to jibber jabber. This is kind of what it's always been like with Charles and I, just talking about stuff, and that's basically all we're doing.
Yeah, this is me and Lloyd all the time. then we just stop.
Yeah,
that's why we were going on for an hour, because I think we forgot we were live streaming. We're just like, let's talk about some stuff.
We do, yeah. So we're gonna do that at 2 p.m. Saturday. Ooh. And then at 7 p.m. we're doing the Amazon Prime / Twitch live stream watch party of 1980s Friday the 13th. So don't forget to join us for that. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah. What Todd say? He's going to add her to Army of Darkness poster that Bruce, Sam, and Ted signed. That's awesome. Yeah. I should maybe take mine down, but it weighs like 4,000 pounds. That giant one I have.
That Italian Army of Darkness poster.
It's somewhere. It's over there. It's gigantic. Yep. It goes to the wall.
That's an awesome poster.
I know, but the damn frame in the poster, it weighs like 8,000 pounds. I feel like I'm moving a cow every time I move the thing around. You know, when I brought that home from the framers, I had to strap it to the roof of my car because it was so big. I drove home with that thing not strapped like a normal person do. All I had was tapes. I taped that son of a bitch to my roof.
Did you really?
All the way.
One way to get it done.
It wouldn't fit in my car. It's too big.
Here's an interesting question. Can we get a Frightmare HQ podcast logo shirt? That's a good idea. Would anybody else like one of those shirts?
If you guys would like a Frightmare HQ podcast logo shirt, we can make some happen.
We could probably make that happen. Let us know if you want one of those. But for now, I want to say thank you for everybody. Thank you to everybody for watching tonight and joining us. It's always a blast seeing you guys join in, and we get to read your comments, so it's great interaction. We appreciate it.
What I would like is, so today we talked about 1980s, so I think we're going to talk about 1981 next week, right? Same time, Lloyd?
Next Wednesday?
Yeah, why not?
I'm in. Let's do it.
But outside of 1981, I would love if people would tell us what they would love for us to jibber jabber about. Jibber jabber.
Oh, yeah. Leave us the comments.
It can be
Let us know.
Nunsploitation. It can be tipping cow films. Anything like that. We'll talk about it.
Tipping cow films. And do us a favor, too. I got to plug us a little bit. Whatever you're watching on, make sure you subscribe to us.
Subscribe.
Hit like buttons, whatever buttons you can click. We want to keep doing this. We want to keep doing it, and we need your support. So if you'll just subscribe, like, share, everything you can, help us out, get more viewers, and help us grow, if you will.
I just picked up a really creepy mask from my desk.
I saw that when I first came on. I saw it was laying on your desk. What is that?
It's an old Halloween mask, and I had found it, and I think I just had it sitting up here. And I had it up, and it was scaring you when you signed on. It was like this.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
because I had just thrown it up here, and I was like, oh, sorry, Lloyd. Somebody asked about the light behind me. Where can we buy one of those lighted neon TFW things Charles has behind him?
Larry Reeves made those a few years ago.
I don't even know if he's making those anymore here.
I don't either. We've had those for a while. I have one too, and Scott Reese has one.
So maybe if there's interest, maybe Larry could make some for people because they're actually really, really cool. It's a lot brighter because it kind of dulls out in the thing, but it's actually a lot brighter than it.
Oh, in person they look really cool.
Yeah, I like it.
So somebody asked about make a bandana too. I can use it as a mask. We have something like that coming. Let me just say that. My wife won't let me say anything else about it, but when those are ready, we will let you guys know, and it's going to be very soon. So keep an eye out on that. Somebody said I want your Jason shirt. I think I bought this at Walmart.
What about my shirt? Look at my beautiful shirt. Come on, people.
Yours isn't that great.
Jesus.
I like that shirt very much.
It's Elsa. It's Bride of Frankenstein. I love her.
It's a cool shirt. I'm just joking.
I don't believe you anymore, Lloyd. I don't believe
I love
you.
Baby. Don't get mad.
Baby Cakes, stop it, Baby Cakes. Don't try to make me feel better.
Baby, don't worry about it.
Matt Orsman just joined us again. Matt, you're so late, Matt.
You are late.
I missed you.
Sue. I gotta agree. She's definitely my queen.
Meredith's still on. Josette's still on.
Everybody's on.
I thought we would really outrun everybody. I thought we would stay on so everybody said, why in God's name am I still listening to these two yokels? And then they would just sign off. But yeah, hey, Shannon says her husband has an Elsa shirt too. Thank you. I love Elsa. I have Elsa tattooed across my thigh, very large.
Yes.
Now, yeah, so like Lloyd said, like us, subscribe to us, so you know when we come on. Me and Lloyd are random, so if you like us and subscribe to us, you may just find us randomly jump on at some point.
Yeah.
It may be 1:23, and me and Lloyd are all right, we're going to live stream this. We're going to talk about Bruce Willis's unknown movies. Let's go.
And like us on all of our platforms. We're on Twitch, we're on Periscope, we're on Facebook,
YouTube,
and we're on YouTube. We got Instagram also, but can't really live stream from there. Well, you can, but not the way we're set up. So
if people are interested in, like they said, a shirt for our logo, Wayne Lloyd will look at, see what we can do.
Absolutely.
Do for you.
Luke from Australia, watching and listening from Australia while at work at 11:50 in the morning.
Luke,
thanks for watching.
Luke, thank you so much, Luke. Hope everything is going well for you out in Australia.
Shannon says, can this be a thing now? We're going to keep doing it, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in and watching.
Yeah, we definitely plan on continuing to do this if you guys like listening to us jibber jabber about randomness.
Yeah, and we're going to have actual content too. So
we'll have actual content. I think Wednesday will be the jibber jabber day. Me and Lloyd will be jibber jabber.
I like that.
But me and Lloyd like to jibber jabber, but we have to set on a topic because we'll just go crazy. Like the other day, we went to Cannonball Run in Supervan, so it's got to be
way off of the horror topic. So
we almost did that today. We were talking about Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, which I could have went on forever about that.
Believe me, that's Charles's #1 favorite movie
of all time. I mean, it takes movies like Shawshank Redemption and Gone to the Wind and just blows them away. I mean, when Estelle Getty holds that gun and Sylvester Stallone says, "Stop, or my mom will shoot," I had a tear down my eye.
It sends chills up your spine, doesn't it?
It's how it didn't win Best Picture. Who knows? Who knows?
All right, Charlie, we've been on almost an hour and 10 minutes. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Had a lot of fun, guys. Again, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming on and watching.
Thanks for working with us at the beginning. I know we had a little bit of tech issue, but we're always back. You can't get rid of us. We're like herpes. We always come back.
Definitely. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up tonight. Make sure you join us. We're going to be back on Saturday at 2 different times. We're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday. Don't forget to join us. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. My name is Lloyd Cryer, and I'm with
Charles Doe's Lloyd's lover.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Wait a minute. I'm not ready, Charles.
You're always ready.
I got to queue up my producer stuff.
Oh.
All right, here we go.
Boop.